to make it more fun and interesting, I decided to knit a full project while I'm there. Hello and welcome to the Bare Knit Knitting channel. This video will be a little bit different compared to those that I have on my channel. And the reason for that is that I'm planning my trip to Iceland, which will be my holiday. And to make it more fun and interesting, I decided to knit a full project while I'm there. So the idea is to cast on while I'm on my flight from Oslo, Norway to Reykjavik in Iceland, and work on that project throughout my journey when I'm not visiting these nice places that they have in Iceland, and finish my project on my flight back to Norway. And well, we will see if I manage to do it or not. So a little bit about the project that I'm planning to make. The project is called, let me check, I have it on my phone. So it is a sweater, and the pattern is called Never Too Late Sweater by Mini Me Knit Design. The yarn that is suggested for this pattern is DK weight yarn, and the needle that I achieved the gauge is 4mm needle, which is US 6. So it's not a fingering weight yarn, so it will go a little bit faster than you would go with fingering weight, but of course we will see. And a small cheating, maybe not cheating, but rather advantage on my side is that this sweater, and it doesn't have full-length sleeves, it has 3/4 sleeves, which should be a little bit faster to finish, but again, we will see how fast I will go. And if you have your prediction, or do you want to put a bet whether I will make it or not, please add your comment below while you still have chance, while I still haven't cast on this sweater, so you can predict whether I make it or not. I will talk a little bit more about the sweater construction, and if I will do any changes there while I will be knitting throughout my journey. I will be shooting videos of my progress while I'm there, and also I will add here and there a little bit of views of Iceland, so you can enjoy a little bit of holiday content here in this video. But of course we are here for knitting, so I will try not to overload you with the stuff that is not related to knitting. Anyway, see you very soon, and wish me luck! As you can guess, the cast-on party happened during the flight from Oslo to Reykjavik. The flight took around 2.5 hours, so I was able to make a good progress. The recommended cast-on method in the pattern is knitted cast-on, and oh boy, it is definitely not my preferred cast-on method. Honestly, nothing compares to the good old long-tail cast-on. Please tell me I'm not alone and you also prefer the long-tail cast-on as well. If not, which one do you prefer? Lucky me, there weren't too many stitches to cast on. The second day of the trip was also quite knit-friendly. We stayed overnight at a very wild camping spot next to the ocean. The weather was amazing, and I added quite a few rows to the yoke of my sweater. The construction of the sweater isn't the most straightforward, so I had to keep a lot of attention to the pattern, which basically gives you new instructions every 2-4 rows of the yoke. The instructions are not complex, but you still have to pay attention where exactly you are, so you don't have to frog back, which would be disappointing. As you can see, there are plenty of birds on the background, and I have a trekking pole in my chair. There is a very good reason for that. Let me explain you why. These birds are called Arctic terns, and they are very protective of their chicks. If you come too close, in their opinion, to a chick, its mom will try to attack a potentially risky object. Well, in this case, me. Important thing, the bird will attack the highest point, which is my head. To avoid that, obviously, you can hold something above your head. I used a trekking pole. If you move it in circles like I do in the video, it will confuse the bird and no one will be attacked. Well, that was quite an experience with these birds. And here is a glimpse of what Iceland is known for: waterfalls. This one is called Dettifoss, and it is the second most powerful waterfall in Europe. I can confirm that this one is big and powerful. And because of the constant water drops in the air, there is a big patch of bright green grass among rather stony desert that surrounds it. I saw plenty of waterfalls, but this one is definitely worth visiting if you decide to travel to Iceland. Here is another typical Icelandic scene: geysers. There are many places where you can bath in a geyser. Some of them are well known and luxurious, and some of them are in the middle of nowhere where you have to hike for some time to reach it, but they are free. Hello, this is day 4 of my trip, and I finally found some time and spot and less wind. Hopefully you don't hear that it's windy to record a video. So let me show you the progress what I have after these 4 and actually 3.5 days of trip. So here we go. Let me put it on top of me so you can see what I already have. So I think I have like 4 rounds or 4 rows to be precise left until I will be able to join the front, and then I will separate the sleeves and front and back of the sweater. And here we are. Let me show you more closely. Ding, ding. And here it is. So I have my raglan sections. Well, you know how the raglan sweater works, and my little row counter, so I know where I am. And yeah, here we go. I'm not sure how much it's like in percent of the sweater that I need to make. Maybe like 20, maybe less, maybe 18. But it's moving. And now I'm still knitting it flat, back and forth, so half of it is purling, and I kind of hope once I will join the fronts, it will go faster and smoother, because it will be only the knit stitches, but we will see. Anyway, I'm enjoying my trip, and today we had a nice hike around the volcano. You can actually see all this thing over there. It's actually a volcano crater. Woo, my finger is yeah, so starting here and ending all the way over there, it's actually a volcano crater. They say it's around 1000 meters, not sure how much this in feet, but around 1000 meters in diameter. So this thing is big, and it took us around 1 hour to go on top of the crater from the lower ground and walk the circle. You can actually walk around and see how it looks. Rocks, sand, not nothing special, but still super fun to walk on top of a volcano crater. Thanks, and see you hopefully very soon. And here is the mentioned volcano. It is called Verfjall. If there is anyone who speaks Icelandic, I'm very sorry for my pronunciation. This volcano erupted over 2.5 years ago. Hard to imagine the size of the eruption considering the size of the crater. Lava from the eruption covered kilometers of the valley around the volcano. You can still see the lava fields there in the area. The fascinating thing is there are little flowers and moss growing on the crater. I can only imagine how much time it takes for anything to grow there. Another example of how breathtaking Iceland is: we went on a hike in the eastern part of Iceland. The main destination of the hike is this area with huge boulders, streams of ice-cold water and a bright blue lake. But this will be a bit later. First, let me introduce you to these sweet creatures. While walking there, we spotted, or to be more correct, we were spotted by 3 sheep, Mom and her 2 lambs. They immediately ran in our direction. Maybe we looked like they're humans, or maybe they sensed my big appreciation of wool and sheep in general. In any case, we just stopped and watched them approaching us. They tried to be discreet, but with no success. So we just stopped and let them say hello to us. And here is the promised lake. By the way, there are no filters in this video. The water is that bright in reality. You can walk around here, sit on a stone to have a rest, or knit a couple of rounds. But let's talk about my project and the progress I had made by day 6 of my trip. I finally joined 2 front sides, so now the sweater can be worked in the round. Additionally, I've separated the stitches onto body and sleeves, and I also started knitting one of the sleeves after the body measured around 5 cm or 1 inch. The stitch holders I have in between sleeves and the body are there to keep stitches tight, so it doesn't create holes in that area. I learned this life hack after a couple of projects when I had huge holes there, so I had to close them once the sweater was done. Stitch holders help a lot. Let's return to the travel a bit. This is a skeleton of a blue whale, and it can be found in the Whale Museum in Husavik. Whales are my another big love, and seeing them with my own eyes was one of the plans for this trip. Of course, when you go whale watching in the sea, you never know if they will show up or decide that they have more important things to do that day. So before the whale watching trip, we went to the museum to learn more about them. Seeing this blue whale and realizing how big they are made me admire these creatures even more. And yet another big love of mine, horses. You can tell that I have a lot of loves in my life. These guys were friendly and allowed me to pet them. Of course, they requested a small payment for that, which was juicy Icelandic grass. Who am I to say no to this ice? Here goes a short list of other animals I met during my trip. Seals, puffins, a humpback whale, another humpback whale, and more puffins. Back to the knitting. The progress I made by day 8 of my trip was following. I finished one sleeve, yay! And was around half of the length of the second sleeve. Ribbing in this sweater has a very nice pattern. You need 2 stitches and purl 2 stitches throughout the whole round. On the second round, you shift knit 2 purl 2 by 1 stitch. This means you would start the round with purl 1, then knit 2 purl 2 until the end of the round and finish the round with purl 1. On the next round, you would shift by 1 stitch again, and so on. This creates nice diagonal lines of texture. Here's me trying to show you how far I was with the second sleeve, but doing it with only one hand and some bushes as a surface was not the best combo. Nevertheless, you can see that I was even further than half of the second sleeve at this point. For the last night in Iceland, we decided to stay in a hotel instead of a camper van to slowly get used to the civilization again. Don't get me wrong, I love traveling with a camper van. But after 10 days and most of the nights with around 4 degrees Celsius or 39 Fahrenheit, it was great to enjoy a little bit of warmth. My knitting is still in progress and slowly moving towards the finish line, though there is still plenty of work left. Another example of me struggling with filming myself and trying to not let my husband into the frame. Good news! My sweater starts looking like a sweater now. I already have both sleeves, but still need to add a lot of fabric to the body. The collar is not ready yet too. I'll have to pick up the stitches and add the same shifting knit 2 purl 2 ribbing pattern to the collar. The flight is around 2.5 hours, so we will see what I will be able to squeeze out of that time. Airports are made for knitting. If I'm lucky to find a spot to sit and knit, I could spend hours there. Though it is worth keeping my eye on my gate to not miss my plane. Luckily, Icelanders knit a lot, so I had no issues with bringing my knitting needles on the plane. I heard heartbreaking stories when people had to abandon their needles because the security didn't allow to bring them on the plane. So far, I was lucky. Fingers crossed that this trick will hold. I also read life hacks from other knitters when they disattached interchangeable needles from the cable and put them in a bag together with pens and pencils. Who knows, maybe this hack will help any one of you. I'm back at home. What do you think? Did I make it or not? You can leave your comment with the guess that you think, what you think, whether I made it or not, in the comments below. I will count to 3. So you can pause the video and write a comment. 3, 2, 1. That was your chance. Now the final reveal. Dun, 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 dun. Uh-oh. I didn't make it. Even though I tried, I was knitting throughout the whole flight and was doing my best, but well, what can you do? Life happens, and let me show you what I've done and what is still left to do to finish the project. So I finished with the sleeves, obviously, both of them, and I finished with the collar, and I made some progress in the body. I have a stitch marker somewhere, here it is, where I marked the place where I started during my flight and how many rounds I added during the flight, besides finishing the collar. By the way, the collar, it is something that you are supposed to finish in the end after you are done with the sleeves and the body. I decided to finish it before, and the reason for that is that I'm not quite sure if I will have... No, when I started the project, I had just the right yardage of yarn that I needed to finish the size 3 that I'm working on, and I wasn't sure if I will make it or not. And additional thing, I'm quite a tall person, so usually I will add a little bit more to the body lengths that people usually do, or that the pattern suggests, just to fit it better on my body. And also often I would make sleeves a little bit longer. We will talk about sleeves a little bit later once I'm done with the collar. So as I said, I wasn't sure about the yarn, if I have enough or not, once I'm done with the body, so I decided to pause working on the body on some point and finish with the collar. Why the collar is done afterwards, so you don't cast on with the collar? The thing is that you would cast on the under the collar, of course, and somewhere on this point where the back raglan line starts, and you would cast on stitches all the way to the other raglan line on the back. And so, as you can guess, all the rest of the sweater, which goes here to the front of the sweater, you don't cast on in the beginning. You would just work back and forth in the back while you are casting on stitches for the both fronts of the sweater. So this is how you are gradually adding more and more and more fabric to the front of the sweater. And this is why the collar should be done afterwards, after you are done with everything that you did on the yoke. Yes, so this is the reason why I made it afterwards. And another thing that I'm lacking to finish the sweater is the ties. I will put the photo of the sweater here, the finished sweater from the designer, how it looks. You have these 2 ties in the front of the sweater. So I also haven't done them yet, but it's a small thing. Anyway, still have to do it. I mentioned the sleeves. I was making the same length of the sleeves as the pattern tells you. Can't remember the length, 21 centimeters or something, maybe 21 plus the cuff, or however it is called when you have 3/4 of sleeves. Anyway, I did exactly as long as the pattern suggests, but I'm quite tall and this length is just not as good as I wished it to be. So if I have enough yarn left once I'm done with the body, I will throw a couple of centimeters more to the sleeves just to make it look better. And speaking of yarn, this is how much yarn I have left. I'm holding it double, and it goes pretty quickly, but I'm still sure that I will have like at least 10 centimeters of fabric, enough yarn here in those two balls. So I will be happy, I hope, with the length of the sweater. By the way, let me put it on to show you how it actually looks and how much I need to add to the body. Here it is. As you can see, I have a little bit of body left to finish on, but still it's not too bad in my opinion. And the sleeves, as you can see, they are below my elbows, but still not as long as I wish them to be. I don't know, I would wish like 2 centimeters, like 1 inch more at least on both sleeves. But again, I will add this length to the sleeves depending if I have enough yarn left after I'm done with the body. And my observation. So, as I mentioned, I was traveling. You saw my travels and all the footage that I had during my trip. The thing is that if you are working on a sweater while living in a camper van, it leaves you very little space to measure or to try the fit of the sweater that you are working on, and because you don't have a mirror, so I could put it on myself and check it, and it's just like, yeah, okay, looks okay. But you don't have a normal mirror like for the full height, or at least half of my height, and just to see myself, it's a bit hard to predict whether it looks as I wish it to look, or I'm just imagining stuff. Anyway, this is where what I think about the sleeves and why they are not as good as I wanted them to be. And also, speaking about the construction of the sweater, I really liked it. It is quite a new way of constructing the sweater when you start at the back of the sweater for the raglan, and then you gradually increase stitches for the front. As you can see, it has this slopey fit, and also the v-neck for the front of the sweater. So I like how it looks. But the thing is, in the pattern you have quite a few of instructions. The instructions are good, and you can just follow them and just relax. So it doesn't, I don't want to say that the pattern is written badly. No, it's okay. But the thing is, I was traveling and I was knitting while I had like a couple of free minutes, or in the evening when I was done with my hikes or whatever activities I was doing that day. And it required quite a lot of attention to the phone that I had my pattern on. So, you know, you need a couple of rounds, 2-3 rounds, and then you need to check your phone again to see where you are in the pattern, because every 3-4 rounds you would get new instructions what you need to do next. So it requires a little bit more attention that it could. So I guess for such a project or such an challenge that I had for this video, I guess I should have gone with a little bit more simple pattern, so it wouldn't require so much brain power for myself. But anyway, I like the pattern, I like the result, and why not? I had fun. Anyway, thank you for watching my video. Thank you for supporting me, and I hope to see you in my next videos. Bye!